So you're looking for your next value for money compact crossover SUV, and you're looking in the market for one that is the best one out there. I picked out the two which I think are the best currently in their classes, the Geely Azkarra Luxury and also the MGHS Trophy. Today we're going to compare these two cars and see which is the better car among these two. Let's first compare these two cars on their exterior. Exterior-wise, the Geely Azkarra, it looks very aggressive, yes, but it doesn't look incredibly sporty. The Geely definitely went towards the more premium, a little bit more grown-up vibe to it. The expanding Cosmos grille, it looks very corporate, and you also have these beautiful LED headlights also with that crystal-like effect. Towards the side, you do get 18-inch rims, but as well as the rest of the car, it doesn't look incredibly sporty. It's a more utilitarian, more premium approach to things. You also get a lot of squareness and lines towards here on your windows, and if you go on over towards the back of the car, you get a very similar styling as the front and the sides. You do get this satin painted Geely plaque all across the back part of this car, and also dual exhausts down below. Once you move on over towards the MGHS Trophy, and from the front end alone, you know that MG was taking a different route to things. It is equally as aggressive, if not a little bit more aggressive, but it doesn't look too premium looking. Instead, it's going for the sporty, more like a sporty premium vibe to it. You get a grille that is much bigger, and it looks like a floating grille. Full LEDs on this one with sequential turn signals, and over onto the side, the rims look a lot better. These rims right here remind me more of a Mercedes-Benz rim or a Porsche rim even. The rest of the profile of the car, there's not much lines on it, and it is just one solid, beautiful looking sculpted curvy design. And even towards the back, it just looks a lot more curvy. It looks, in fact, very similar to the Mercedes-Benz GLC or the GLE. Down below, you also do get dual exhaust tips, although they're a little bit more hidden than what you get in the Azkarra. So when it comes to exterior, I think I really do have to give the point to the sporty premium looking MGHS Trophy. Now, what about the powertrain options for these two cars? Well, both of these cars do share a 1.5 liter engine, but the main difference here is that the Geely Azkarra is just an inline 3, a 3-cylinder engine. However, it does have a 48-volt EMS, which makes this a mild hybrid system, giving you instantaneous torque from the get-go. And this motor right here produces 190 horsepower and 300 Newton meters of torque, made it to a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. But when you go on over to the MG, again, it's also 1.5 liter, but you do get an inline 4 engine. In theory, this will be a little bit smoother than the 3-cylinder, but let's test that out later. Power figures wise, you get 169 horsepower for this one and 250 Newton meters of torque, making this have less power than the Geely Azkarra. But it is also mated to a 7-speed transmission. Now, the question among these two is that what about their power drive thing? Well, the Geely Azkarra gets all-wheel drive while the MGHS only is front-wheel drive. So in that regard, power figures wise and power delivery wise, the absolute win goes to the Geely Azkarra Luxury. Inside the Geely Azkarra, it's incredibly premium and luxurious feeling. You do get these Nappa leather seats, which are just so soft, so supple, and oh so premium feeling. Power adjustments on the driver's side, but only manual for the passenger. A fully digital instrument cluster plus a 12.3-inch touchscreen towards the middle. Unfortunately, you do not get Apple CarPlay nor Android Auto. Other features here include 6 airbags, 8 speakers, a panoramic sunroof, and an incredibly clear 360-degree view camera with 3D view as well. Plus, you also do get a wireless charging pad down the middle. And now inside the MGHS Trophy, well, the interior of this car is definitely towards the more sporty side. I mean, look at the seats alone. They have these like holes here behind your nape, which reminds you very much of race cars out there. The leather on it, it's also incredibly premium, but it's definitely not Nappa leather. It's not as premium feeling as the Geely Azkarra. However, the ace up its sleeve over here is that both the driver's seat and also the passenger seat is electrically adjustable. Your instrument cluster is a really big 12.1-inch screen, and it's incredibly crisp, but towards the center, the infotainment screen isn't as great as the Geely Azkarra at only around 10 inches. inches. And unfortunately, if you do want to control your aircon settings, you don't have physical buttons for it, so you do really have to fuss around with the computer inside. However, it does come with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, making this much more convenient in terms of connectivity compared to the Azkarra. The rest of the interior in this car too, it's clad in a lot of soft touch materials, but it's not as high quality as the ones you get in the Geely Azkarra. You do, however, still do get a panoramic sunroof up top. You get 4 airbags as well as 6 speakers in this car. And the one additional extra that this car has that the Geely Azkarra doesn't get is that you do get blind spot monitoring inside the MGHS. But overall, when it comes to interior and tech though, I think the win still has to go to the Geely Azkarra because of its really cool 360-degree view camera and its amazing interior materials. Now, what about the practicality of these two cars? Let's start off with the MGHS with its power tailgate. And in here, trunk space at 463 liters. Plus, you can even fold down those rear seats 60/40 to give you a lot more space. And you also do get a space saver spare tire in there. Over here at the second row, your legroom is simply amazing. The legroom you get here is probably the best in the class because this car, after all, has, I think, the longest wheelbase in its class. It's amazing. You also get great amounts of headroom despite this panoramic sunroof. And as for toys, you get a couple of them. First, you do get this air filter by the front center armrest. You get 2 air vents, 2 USB ports, and even this map pocket feels incredibly high quality. You can stick a MacBook Pro in there and it'll hold it just fine. Plus, you do get this also very high quality feeling center armrest with 2 cup holders and also a small cubby. And you also get these seats which do recline. If you want to seat 3 people in this car, it's also very much doable because the car really does feel rather wide and the footwell is pretty much flat. Now let's check out the one in the Geely Azkarra. Now what about on the Geely Azkarra? Open up this tailgate and it is also power. However, your space is only at 320 liters, so definitely not as big as the one in the MGHS. However, you can also fold down the seat 60/40 and you still do get a space saver spare tire in here under this false floor. Climb on inside to the second row of the Geely Azkarra, and legroom is actually really good as well, although it's not as good as what you would get with the MGHS. However though, over here you do still get that same Nappa leather which you do get in front, which improves this by a little bit. But if you look at these map pockets right here, they're just net, so they aren't as nice as the ones you get in the MGHS. And your toys, you also do get this center armrest with this cup holders, 2 of them, and you also do get your own air vents, 2 of them, as well as 2 USB ports. Plus, if you do want to sit in the middle, 3 people is possible, but it's definitely not as roomy as the one that you get in the MGHS. So when it comes to practicality, the hands down win here would go to the MGHS trophy. Now let's see how these two cars drive, and we start off with the MGHS. The MGHS, you know that MG really tuned this to be a more comfort-oriented vehicle. It can somehow handle corners, although it's not the best, but when it comes to dealing with road imperfections and speed bumps, it's very absorbing. You do know that the dampers were tuned to really suck up all those imperfections in the road. It kind of has a tendency of going a little bit lower than usual at the back, but it doesn't bottom out, so don't worry about that. And it's not floaty enough to make you really want to puke or get car sick, not at all. Now, another great thing about the MGHS is the engine up front. So it is an inline-4 engine and it is incredibly smooth because, well, it is an inline-4. However, the main problem with this one is that despite having a great engine with great amounts of power, there is a little bit of a bottleneck in this car when it comes to the transmission. So it's jerky and slow to respond, especially at really low speeds when you're creeping in traffic. You know how when you're in stop and go traffic and you're at a full stop and you just want to creep forward to keep up with the car in front of you, the MGHS kind of struggles with that. However, when you do go up to bigger roads and you're on the open roads, it doesn't really struggle. So it's just when you do spend a lot of time in the city, will you have a little bit of an issue when it comes to the transmission. Next up, the steering in this car, it feels incredibly artificially assisted. Not a bad thing, especially at this price point, because I don't think anyone's really looking for an incredibly sporty SUV, but it's just well, it's incredibly light and it's pretty much good for the city. And you can adjust it through your infotainment screen if you want it a little bit more dynamic or a little bit lighter. It's all adjustable over there. Also, the MGHS, akin to its comfort-oriented nature, it's incredibly quiet when you are driving it, especially inside the city. Once you do go up above 80 kilometers per hour, there is a little bit of road noise. It does enter the cabin, but it's not too bad. It's one of the best when it comes to noise insulation in the class. Fuel economy wise, you can do around 6 kilometers per liter in really heavy city traffic, and once you do go up over to the highway at around 100 kilometers per hour, you're gonna return around 12 kilometers per liter. And now for the Geely Azkarra. Right off the bat, once you do enter the cabin of this car and you do sit behind this cockpit, this beautiful cockpit, it feels like a much more premium car. So the powertrain in this car, it's kind of odd because it is an inline 3 engine, so you would expect a little bit more vibrations inherently versus a 4-cylinder. However, for some strange reason, Geely was able to make the engine in this one incredibly smooth. Even when you're idling, you don't feel it. At first, I thought it's because of the mild hybrid system, but if you do try the Coolray, which has the exact same engine as this one without the hybrid system, it's also as smooth. That really does remind me of how it is Volvo technology and how Volvo has been perfecting their odd-numbered cylinders for the past couple of decades. It's a bit stiffer, definitely a bit stiffer compared to the MGHS, but it's not really uncomfortable. Yes, you kind of get bobbed around a little bit when you do go over speed bumps and all that, but it's definitely not too bad. You can easily live with this car every day. The transmission in the Azkarra, while it's also a dual clutch transmission, it really doesn't feel jerky as the MGHS. It's still not a perfect transmission. There is still a tiny bit of a delay, but since you do have that mild hybrid system kicking in once in a while, it kind of offsets the weird clutch-like feel that you get with most dual clutch transmissions. Going back to the engine of this car, aside from it being incredibly smooth, there's definitely considerably more power here. So when you do floor it, yes, and you do get all-wheel drive in this one. So when you are starting to get a little bit more slip on it, the all-wheel drive system will kick in, and you also get almost instantaneous torque courtesy of that mild hybrid system. When you do corner this car as well, you know that the suspension isn't exactly tuned to be the most sportiest, but it's definitely a little bit more sportier than the MGHS. And when you are pushing this hard over corners, the all-wheel drive system also does a great job of kind of supplementing some of your handling. As for your steering, it's a little bit more direct. It's not exactly the most direct, but it's definitely a bit more direct than the MGHS, even if you put the MGHS in its most dynamic mode. This one, while it does feel assisted, it's not incredibly artificial. You still know immediately that it is an electronic car-assisted steering. It just feels a little bit more natural. I don't know what Geely did with this one, but they probably jacked in a lot of noise insulating materials in this one because it's just incredibly quiet even when you are going really fast. Go up over to the highway, do 100 kilometers per hour, just a tad bit of road noise that does enter the cabin, but it's just so minute. You really won't expect this much noise insulation from this class of car. It truly is excellent when it comes to long distance cruising. And as for fuel economy in the Geely Azkarra, you can do around 7.2 kilometers per liter in the city, probably because it is a mild hybrid. And over at the highway, it's a little bit better than the MGHS2 at 16 kilometers per liter. Now we've seen these two cars, but unfortunately we do have to pick a better one. But first, their prices. The Geely Azkarra Luxury comes in at 1,665,000 pesos, while the MGHS comes in at only 1,308,888. 300 plus thousand peso difference, but still, despite the price, I think the overall winner does have to go to the Geely Azkarra Luxury. The MGHS is an amazing car, but there are just a little bit more refinement, a little bit more power, and a little bit more premiumness that you will get with the Geely Azkarra Luxury. So if you do have the funds available, that 300 plus thousand pesos will really go a long way. So the overall winner right here is the Geely Azkarra Luxury. Thank you for watching.